Hello and welcome to another episode of Experts Eating Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Thomas from the Happy Business Club. And I've got another exciting guest today that's going to come and eat cake with me. This woman I met last year and she was a buddy on my table at the big festoon. She sat there with me. She danced with me. We had a good old chat. I listened to her story and she really struck me with her big heart. I wanted to bring her on because she is an expert in helping business owners cut through the crap and get to the heart of what they actually want to say. And she teaches them how to do it easily. So let's welcome Claire Marie Quant. Hi, Claire. How you doing?
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're here. We've been waiting for this for a while now, haven't we?
It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you too. I know you're going to be dashing off in a little while somewhere, but I want to see your cake today. Please show me your cake.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you really ready?
Yes, I'm really ready. I love cake. Oh my God, it matches my jumper. I take it you've got two cakes because one is meant for me.
One is meant for you, but you're not here, so I'll have to eat it for you. So. But the thought is there.
Absolutely. And you can eat my cake. I'll give you permission to eat my cake.
Thank you. I'm being a creative. I just found that in the cupboard. So.
Oh, lovely. That's brilliant. Yeah. What kind of cake is it? Let's have a look. What kind of cupcakes are they?
Fancy pants cakes. Hold on.
Oh, go on. Take a bite. Take a bite.
What my mum would have called a fairy cake.
Fairy cake. What's the flavours? What's the flavour explosions?
Strawberry, vanilla, sprinkles.
You can't go wrong.
Plain spud. Oh, there's jam in the middle.
Oh my God, don't you love a surprise jam middle? I can taste it in my imagination. Is that my one or your one that you're eating?
I'm not sure.
We'll share.
I'm actually owning both of them, but
well. Right, do you want to see my cake? I brought cake.
Let's have a look.
Right. Still a fair watch. Right, see this? You see this bit of cake? It's red and black, and this is what it looks like in the middle. It's actually a slice of birthday cake. Because I went out at the weekend with my cousin for his 40th birthday and we got him a cake from a lovely place in Whitworth called BC Bakes. It's run by a friend of mine, Mia Beresford-Carter, and her family as well, a lovely family bakery. And she does the most phenomenal cakes. She's so talented. But my cousin, he likes his music. He likes Red Hot Chili Peppers and Foo Fighters. So we did this amazing big cake. And it's not gone stale. I'm going to try a bit. Shall I try a bit?
It lasts forever. Well, it doesn't last forever, obviously. But
right, let's see. Oh, that is nice. The buttercream on the outside's like a white chocolate buttercream.
Is it a taste sensation?
Oh yes, of course it is. I've had a couple of cakes recently that weren't the freshest. This isn't the freshest, but it tastes really good. It's not the freshest because I've had it since Friday.
Yeah, well, you can pretend in this world that it's only Saturday.
Oh, I look forward to these cake eating sessions, you know. Any excuse, eh?
That isn't my favourite cake in the whole wide world, though.
Tell us what's your favourite.
Well, I've got two. One is the Sainted Mary Berry.
I love that one.
A fruit cake. It sounds really boring and old-fashioned. And my brother makes it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It is so light, and it is just gorgeous.
Well, it's got to be. It's by Mary Berry. One of my first cookbooks that I ever had was a Mary Berry cookbook, and they're just everything in there is amazing.
It's so nice. And you say fruitcake these days. No
Oh,
thanks.
I like a bit of fruitcake.
Like Christmas cake now and again.
Oh,
Christmas, obviously.
yeah.
But it is gorgeous. Prior to that, I would have loved a Delia.
Oh, another great.
Yeah, chocolate roulade.
Oh.
Now I can turn out quite a good one of those. But
Oh, if you ever make it, send me a bit in the post.
I tell you what I'll do when we next meet up. I'm going to make one and I'm going to bring it up.
Yes! Hooray! I'm all up for that. It's got
a bit of a signature on that. Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
What do you put in the roulade? Buttercream or cream?
Cream.
Oh, yes. A woman after my own heart.
And grated chocolate.
Even better. I never thought of grated
And dusted cocoa and ice and sugar.
Right, I'm just going to have a bit of this cake because my mouth's watering. I've just thrown half of it on the floor.
It never comes out as a perfect roulade because it does break. But she says that's all right. She says that's all right. That's absolutely fine by me.
It all tastes the same going down, doesn't it?
It does.
Absolutely does.
But that is a good one.
Yeah, wow. I was just saying that you actually cut through the poo-poo.
I do.
The heart of the matter. And that is actually some real skill and talent that you've got. Because I know it isn't actually that easy to be crystal clear about what you want to say as a business owner. Is it?
No, I think it is.
You think it is, but you notice with your clients that they really struggle with it.
Yeah, they do because they don't know where to start. They don't know what they should be communicating firstly.
Yeah.
Even though it's their business, it's their brand. They've set it up. They love it. Everything to do with it. They still can't quite get to the heart of why they need to communicate it in a certain way.
Yeah.
And also that they don't need to have loads and loads and loads of different messages. If they can condense things down, it makes it more manageable. It's easier for them to navigate and produce their content and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be complicated, which is why I do cut through the book. So get rid of all that noise, if you like.
You're going to go into a bit more detail about that. What I really want to know is how you actually got started on this path of communication. You do a lot of PR and marketing and general communication as an overall overriding thing. How did you get into this?
Okay, so my background is in PR and journalism. So I worked as a reporter. So I did my training as a cub reporter, the old-fashioned way, on a weekly paper, and then I went on to a daily paper, and then was a news editor. So it was very fast-moving, very quick. You had to make some quick decisions on very tight deadlines. So that's where I honed my skills of actually being able to cut through all that rubbish and all that noise to be able to get to the salient points of information. And then it would obviously go out to print then. It was quite high print runs. It's different now, so it's mostly online. But
I remember back in the day. I
still love a newspaper, an actual newspaper in my hand. Yeah, I do. But I think that's just because that's where I cut my teeth, really. And then I moved into corporate, being a press officer. So I jumped ship from one side to the other. So poacher turned gamekeeper. And then I moved into the sort of PR, events, communication side of things. So finding the actual stories, running campaigns, finding out the crux of what you should be focusing on in terms of your messaging, and then using that as the basis to move forward, whether that was through your PR, through your advertising, through your marketing, through newsletters or any other promotional material. So it is very much about drilling down and finding the key points really that you need to highlight. But once you do that, things can become a lot clearer for you.
Yeah, and it's not just about the clarity either. I mean, as a small business owner, you're very limited with your resources and you know, in how much time you have, how much money you have, and there's always so much to do. And I think sometimes when you can actually drill down, like you say, into what is the most important thing that needs to be out there and how you can put it out there effectively in terms of what you actually want to say, it takes a lot of time pressure away, money pressure away. It is an investment, and it is a way to actually leverage the really powerful things about you and your business. And I know that's a lot of what you actually do with your clients, Claire.
It is, and I think it's really important to get them back to those basics, because they can make a lot of costly mistakes if they don't.
Yeah. We're all about saving the pennies these days, aren't we? All about saving the pennies. Sometimes you've got to spend a little bit to get back quite a lot.
Say that again, sorry.
I said sometimes you have to spend a little bit just to get back quite a lot.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why we have these experts on like yourself, so that people can actually get to see when they're investing in the important things in their business, what kind of thing they will actually get as an outcome. Because sometimes even that's not very clear.
Yeah, and you know, I've made plenty of mistakes in my business, and I'll go on to make plenty more in the future, because that's the way it is when you work for yourself. But I've learned so much along the way that I can then teach my clients, don't do what I've done.
Exactly. That's the way of teaching when it really hurts.
Yeah, and you know, you don't need to spend thousands and thousands on adverts or promotional materials or a shiny new website just because everybody else is doing it. It has to be bespoke to you, and it has to suit you as well as a person, because you're the one who's got to manage it.
Absolutely. That leads me very nicely onto it's not my first question, I've asked you questions already, but onto my next question. And the next question is, as the average business owner is going to be watching this, and they've got questions about PR and communication, and how do I actually get to the heart of the message that I want to put out there? What are the things that you would say are absolute fundamental must-dos in their business to get that little bit further, to get that bit more clarity? What are the basics that they need to know?
Okay, the first thing they need to know and absolutely accept wholeheartedly is they don't have to do everything. They don't have to do every social media platform. They don't have to have the all singing, all dancing websites. They don't have to be having business cards if they don't want business cards. They don't have to be putting out flyers. They don't have to be producing marketing materials if they don't want to, if their budget doesn't suit. They have to do what is right for them and what is going to suit their needs, what is manageable, because this is all about being able to manage it. Because when you're in business, it's really difficult because you're doing everything. And what you don't want is to just keep adding the pressure on, that I've got to post now, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. So did it last week. I must be missing out. I really got to do it because I saw her or him doing it, and it must be the thing to do at the moment. Stay in your lane and keep going at your own pace.
And I think it's that little word pressure, isn't it? Rather than it all being external pressure, you do put pressure on yourself, but to do your thing. It's more of a the pressure is on the right pressure points that'll actually help you to move forward, as opposed to all the pressure completely overwhelm you. I absolutely know where, you know, I can really feel into this, because I feel this on a day-to-day basis when people have big dreams and they want to do big things and they want to do all the things and they feel like they're missing out and things like that. I think sometimes to center yourself is one of the hardest things that you can potentially do as a business.
And it's almost like letting go of that FOMO and that, you know, because the businesses are so different, and we're so different. We're unique as individuals, as business owners, what we're offering. You know, we could be two people doing the same thing, but it will be presented in a very, very different way. And that's absolutely fine, because that's how we are. And what I do is promote that uniqueness of that person, that individual, their business, and draw out their rich qualities, but what they're actually comfortable with. It's no use telling somebody or putting in a comms strategy that they've got to go live on Facebook 3 times a week. If they're an introvert, they're not going to do it. It's no use telling somebody who struggles with writing, that may have, dyslexia or something like that, that means they lack confidence in their writing, that they've got to produce lots of written content.
Yeah. And it's playing to their strengths as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to play to your strengths, because that's what other people are doing. So when you see these people going out there and thinking that you should be doing it, just take a step back and think, are they playing to their strengths? Is that what, and could I match that? Or am I just a very different person or personality to that other person that I'm now comparing myself with?
Yeah. And that's a really good question to ask yourself, because most of the time we just kind of go with the flow and end up in a completely different place than we actually wanted to go.
And we sign up for things and we do things because, we feel we have to.
Yeah.
And it's going to make us a better person, and it's going to bring us all the millions of pounds into our business. Life's not like that.
No, it's not. And we don't have to anything. We don't have to do anything.
And that again is a big acceptance. Accept who you are, your unique personality, and we can tailor your communications to suit you.
Fabulous. Well, in all the time that you've been working, what kind of things have you come across that have really surprised you?
I think that people don't realise that keeping it simple is still a thing. Where regardless of how much things have changed, we're in a digital era now, and communications have changed.
Yes.
You still need to keep it simple, because once you start overcomplicating it, you'll just lose the run of yourself and your business. And you'll get
goes out the window, doesn't it, at that stage of the game?
Yeah, you just need to just keep it simple. What I mean by keeping it simple is keep to a few messages.
Yeah.
Don't have loads and loads of people. Another thing that surprised me, loads and loads of messages, sorry. But another thing that surprises me is that you assume people know what you know, so you don't bother telling them.
And I think sometimes that goes even further. It's like you don't bother telling them because you assume that they know. And then when you do start telling them, you feel a bit daft because you feel like you're stating the obvious and you don't want to keep stating the obvious. But I think that's the thing, overcoming that kind of feeling of, well, I've got to say it again and I've got to say it again. It's like, this is basic stuff, man. You know, why do you not know
that still does surprise me to this day, is that, I have to check myself to actually think that I can't assume that somebody knows what I'm doing. Plus the fact, why would they come and work with me if they knew it all?
Yeah.
So, but that is a one I need to keep in check myself as a business owner is never assume. Because what I take as a natural way of communicating, other people don't.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here to help them.
But that's what makes you an expert.
And to find their voice as well.
That's what makes you an expert. Having that time and experience and practice of doing things a particular way and getting a really good outcome, and then passing that on to your clients as well, and being able to do that with them. That is the whole purpose of being an expert, and that is the whole purpose of creating a business where you can do that for people, that you can help people. tell me about, I don't know if you can pluck something out of your brain about telling me about one of your clients that you might have worked with where you got some really good results, you know, like a little case studies. We don't need to mention any names, but does anybody spring to mind that you're really proud of that you've worked
there
with?
is. There's a few actually, but there's one in particular. She'd been in business about 10 years, I think, when she came to me and said, I think I need your help. She had 2 websites, different businesses, but similar. Numerous Facebook pages, an Instagram, and groups, Facebook groups. And she wanted to simplify things and she wanted to bring it together. And we worked together to actually find the similarities between both of those things that she was doing. So it was the health and well-being sector, but they were stretching her too much and she was spreading herself too thin. So she wasn't doing anything basically. Yeah. Because she couldn't.
Oh, I know that feeling. I can that feeling.
You couldn't manage it, you know, when you've got several different Facebook groups. Everything was not consistent in terms of her messaging. So what she was saying on one group as that particular person, as herself, and what she was saying on another one as herself were totally different. So which one how do you know what they stand for? So we looked at all those, we audited everything that she'd done. We said, right, okay, in her agreement, because you don't have to do any of this unless you want to do it. But, you know, which is the one that you're more drawn to? What is it that you want to be looking at? Your visions, your values? What do you want to do in the future? What are you working towards? Condensed it all down. One website, one Facebook, one Instagram, all under the one of the brands that she had. So basically, she was ditching the other stuff.
I suppose
all that stuff went to waste because she had a rich pot of material there to use going forward. But because she had all that clarity, she was able to then convey that to her clients. And she got her voice back. She started being able to articulate what it was that she was doing and how she could help her clients. So she was runs a dance class. Okay. So she was getting really confident and she started putting out videos on Instagram. And then last year, which is like music to my ears, she hit 1 million views on her Instagram.
Get in!
And it was to watch her celebrating and to see the work that she'd put in to get that clarity and to simplify things in her messaging and her communications, to get her voice back was just mind-blowing. I can
imagine. I'm feeling it. I don't even know who you're talking about, and I'm feeling it. I absolutely relate to it in a million different ways. And I think the other thing as well is when you are able to clarify this, one of the hardest things, I think, sometimes, especially when you've got so many pots open, for example, it's like having tabs open in your brain, isn't it? It's like I've got 5 email addresses, I've got 6 Facebook groups, I've got 3 Instagram accounts, I've got 4 TikTok accounts. I'm actually saying what I've got.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's because you've created all of that, sometimes it's the letting go of certain things so that you can focus on one thing is probably one of the hardest things to do, because if you're emotionally connected to your business, if you're heart-led and you're emotionally connected to your business and it's a massive part of your life, letting go of certain things is actually one of the hardest things.
I've got a small Facebook group that I set up a few years ago, and it's just for women, a bit nurturing and things, and I dip in and out of it, but it doesn't actually align with my business now. And I know, well, I've been thinking about this for about 12 months, that is going to have to go. because I'm not helping those people in that group as much as I could be.
Yeah.
I'm not helping myself because I constantly feel guilty that I'm not putting enough quality into that group. And my efforts could be better used elsewhere. So I know what it's like. I've been there, I experienced that. And I know that letting go is really difficult because these are your babies, aren't they? This is what you've
rented it for 12 months, haven't you?
But if it doesn't serve its purpose, that's business, isn't it? That's how you move on and you grow and you gain your experience, you gain your confidence as you go along, and things in business change as well. So what you were offering maybe last year, you might not be so keen to, things have changed or you've pivoted your business, and therefore your messaging needs to reflect that.
Yeah.
And all your communications needs to reflect that.
Yeah. It's like having a relationship with your Facebook group, isn't it? It's that hard breakup conversation that that you've got to have, and you just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But you know that in the long run, it's going to be the thing that is going to set you free. It's going to set them free, and it's going to allow you to actually impact the world in a much better and a much bigger way, because ultimately that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and it has to be in alignment with what you're actually doing. Otherwise, you have that constant guilt and conflict within your messaging. And if it doesn't line up with what your basic messages are, what I like to call a golden thread that runs through all your communications. So that's the fundamental parts of your business that you want to communicate.
Yeah.
And how you communicate them. Now, you might only have 5 messages, but they will be the ones that you can go to and weave in and out of your communications all the time. But it gives you that sense.
It's making me feel like I'm sitting in the room with you and having a little audit myself. That's what it feels like I'm doing here today. So my brain's kind of ticking. It's like, what she's saying actually makes sense there, and it makes sense there. I bet there's a lot of people that are actually watching now that's thinking the same.
And people think, again, this is another one. This is probably the third one. Did I say about what surprises me is that the 3 things people say to me: I'm not creative, I can't write, or I never thought of that. Well, no, you don't have to think of everything, because there are other people who can do that for you. Your strengths are somewhere else, and we're not all 100% good at doing everything.
Not even me.
Not even you. That's why we have somebody to do bookkeeping or accountants or social media or whatever. If that's not your strength, then don't waste your time doing it. But I think it is the surprise of, you don't have to be creative to know what you want to post about or write about or promote your business.
Yeah.
Because once you've got that golden thread and you've got those fundamentals of communication that that you can resonate with easily, if it's difficult for you to conceptualize, to understand, and to articulate, something's missing.
Yeah.
And I'll get to the bottom of that with you because it will not flow. And it won't give you the confidence to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's all about
in your vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm talking about communications, I'm very...
I know.
Here. In fact, I was in the greengrocers the other day, and somebody said, "Is that you, Claire?" And I had my back to them. She said, "It wasn't the fact that I could tell from the back of you." She said, "It was just the hand management."
Me too. I'm exactly the same as you. You end up knocking things over. You ever knock things over?
It is. It is playing to your strengths, and you don't have to be stuck for words.
No, you
You
never
can
do.
have lots of ideas, and I can give you lots of ideas that will create different ideas.
Yeah.
So you almost just keep chugging along.
Like a little motor that's going.
Yeah, and you know, you'll relax into it because it doesn't seem such a burden anymore.
Yeah.
Who's to say you've got to post every day, apart from the algorithms on whatever?
Unless you really want to, and unless you've got unless you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning with a thought in your head and you decide you want to share it with the world.
Yeah.
Is that a regular?
You know, if somebody says to you, "I haven't seen you on posting much recently," well, perhaps I haven't. I work in communications, and I sometimes don't feel like it. So,
and sometimes you'll do it just because you do feel like it as well.
Yeah. And sometimes you do it just because.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's just because you want to show up.
Yeah.
For yourself and for your business.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, and I know you've probably covered this already, but I want people to be very clear about this. What is your best piece of advice? Best golden nugget, the best one, the no-brainer, this has got to be it. If you don't learn anything else or you don't take anything else away, best piece of advice with regards to creating clarity for yourself in what you want to say.
Play to your strengths. Always play to your strengths. And if writing is not one of them, then either offload that onto somebody else or find another way of communicating.
And there's plenty of ways to communicate.
Oh, there's so many.
There's
you know, there is. Communications has so many facets to it in terms of not just the one-to-one communications, but you know, there's marketing. It's a whole different ballgame to PR, public relations. It's a whole different ballgame to advertising. It's different to social media. You know, there are so many ways to communicate. Networking, showing up and actually physically talking to people. Can't get better than that.
I don't think so either. I absolutely love it. You know, little conversations in the corner of the room, eating cake and drinking coffee and finding out about people and, you know, getting to the heart of what's important to them. And that's building relationships. And ultimately, that's what communications do, isn't it?
Also with the communications that I would identify is that when you go to somewhere like a networking, what do you want to be known for? Do you have a bit of a script? Because they can be quite daunting if you go on your own. So that you know what you can introduce yourself and say, right, okay, I've got my 60 seconds spiel because Claire's written it for me, or this is what we talked about, or, you know, and you can actually tell that person without any qualms, even if you're quaking in your boots, what it is you do.
Yeah.
And why you're there, and most importantly, what do you want to get out of it, and how could you help them? Because it is a two-way street as well.
Sometimes we forget about that bit, don't we? Sometimes we forget about what we.
You know, there's a lot to be gained from it. So, you know, when I'm talking about communications, I'm not just talking about social media.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just talking about marketing. I'm not a marketing expert. I know about marketing, but if you wanted marketing in its purest form, I know people who would do that for you. You've got to know whether you want that or need it.
Yes, absolutely.
First,
yeah.
Before you go
doing your audits, isn't it?
Excuse me. Yeah, it is, because you know you might not need to spend on that, but you may be better spending on somebody who can create copy for you.
Yeah. And again, it comes back to that using your resources wisely, because you know that you're limited with your resources. One of the things that I really love about getting guests on Experts Eating Cake, apart from eating the cake, I'm going to have a little bit in there. Have you got, are you eating the other one?
No, I haven't finished the first one yet.
All right, you'll probably save it for later. Well, one of the things that I really love to do is give you the opportunity to speak to the people that are listening who might want to work with you and tell them exactly what kind of things that they can do if they reach out and get to work with you. I know you've got a great offer to do what we talked about, the audit, the communications audit, and quite specifically getting to the heart of the matter and making sure that you clear away the poo-poo and you left with the really important stuff. And I know that that's something that you cast your expert eye over and you work with people. Tell us a little bit more about that, how much it is, how people can get in contact with you, what they would get out of it, that kind of thing.
So if they wanted to just have me cast my eye over their social medias, and for £99, we'd sit down, and prior to our call, I'd have gone through everything. You'd have told me, right, this is where I'm showing up, and I will put a nice but critical eye over, in a nice way, I have to say, over it, and give you pointers as to where you can plug some gaps, where you can get consistency, where you need to just tighten things up. Maybe you're not quite getting to the heart of the matter. Mm-hmm. That could be on your website. That could be on, like I say, on your socials. You can then, if you want, upgrade that to working with me and doing the entire communications through your business. So looking at absolutely everything, and I mean everything down to the emails that you send.
Mm-hmm. It sounds fabulous.
So, but that is something that I think people need to work up to.
Yeah.
Because if they do it too, I'm talking myself out of doing a job here, aren't I?
You just need to start the process, don't you?
Start the process and know that that can make such a difference. Will give you the confidence then to keep going. But I think it can be overwhelming, and you think you're never ever going to get there. So, and then obviously at the top end, I would do all that for you without any, very little.
I think we'd all love to have a bunch of money to throw at somebody who's an expert to actually fix the problem for us because we've been tearing our hair out for such a long time. But I think sometimes just the starting part of it, just the knowing where you're going to go towards, just knowing what the tweaks are to get the most out of things will actually be the thing that builds your confidence so that you don't end up feeling so desperate about it. And for the princely sum, the very tiny, minute amount of £99, that is a space that you hold for people so that you can actually cast your very, very expert and very experienced eye over a whole range of things that you are or aren't doing. Most probably what you are doing and what you're doing well, and actually knowing how to capitalize on that, and then maybe plug in some gaps to actually support that in places. I mean, how nice is that to know that you can pay the £99, sit there with Claire, have some cake, and actually come out the other side and have a really clear picture of the next few steps that you need to do to create some sort of momentum in your business in terms of what you want to say to people. Because ultimately, we create business through creating communication, clear communication and connections with our audience. And if we know who our audience is, if we know what we need to be saying so that our hearts connect with theirs and that they're hearing what they need to hear from us as experts ourselves, I think that is absolutely a total bargain. So if you're watching,
it is finding that natural flow so that you take the fear away from them. And I'm quite a nurturing, empathetic type of person anyway.
Well, you give good cuddles, I know that much.
Sorry.
You give good cuddles.
Oh. virtual cuddles. But I wouldn't want anybody to think that, yes, I put a critical eye over what is there, but it's not my opinion, and I'm not forming some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I'm not judging anybody on how they've done it before, because we have to change and we have to evolve, if you like. Yeah. So I'm just giving you that little nudge and that helping hand. And because I've got that creative, quite fast-paced brain, do everything at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I can come up with very quick ideas. So within that time slot that we've got together, I can be firing ideas at you and saying, have you thought about this? Have you thought about using this?
Yeah.
You're not mentioning this part of your business where I think it would be much greater advantage to you and to the people who want your services. Because ultimately, people buy from people, as we know. Mm-hmm. And also, they have to want what you've got to offer.
Yes.
Because you're going to solve that problem for them. And the problem I'm solving is that they've got chaotic communications. They're all over the place and they don't know where to start. So we start small with the audits, and then you can then build from there.
We've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there. Cheers.
I will go there again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm going to eat a bit more cake because we're not called experts eating cake for nothing. So cheers to you.
I'm going to have some more.
Absolutely fabulous offer. Now, I've got one more thing to ask you. Oh, it's nice, that icing. Oh, tastes like white chocolate. You've got a tiny little story about how you swooped in and rescued somebody who was going to go on live TV and was nearly bottled it. Tell us more about that story.
So in the world of press and PR and media, 24-hour live TV, we had every TV company at our doorstep. I won't tell you what it was about. You don't really need to know, but we had our most senior director who was going to go on live television at lunchtime and talk about this particular subject and explain why. And it was very controversial, so he was nervous. However, we drilled down to the basics again. Claire goes, let's get to basics. Don't worry about all this other stuff. If they ask you this is what we say, because this is what is our main points and the salient points that we need to get across in this interview. Right, okay, so the producer comes and says, yeah, we're ready. So we've got 30 seconds till live, and he turns around and walks back up the corridor.
No.
Grab him.
What, physically grab him?
Literally grab him and say, you're about to go live. You've already agreed to do this. Once you've agreed, gentleman's agreement and all that, you've got to do it. You basically, otherwise they're going to go live and there's just going to be an empty space. And I ain't going on there to do it for you because that's not my job.
No.
Anyway, I talked him down. Very sweetly and very calmly, and just reiterated, this is why it's so important to get to the main points. Mm-hmm. So, because your brain can then just say, right, okay, I've got that, and that. So there were like 3 salient points. And as I was talking him round, and he was moving towards the camera, and I was just pushing him gently. And then light goes on, and he does the interview. I was like, oh.
It's always well in the world again.
Always well in the world, yes. And the fear is very often worse than the reality, as we know. So I was super proud that he actually did it, because it doesn't matter where you are in an organisation or whatever, it can be incredibly daunting to do that sort of thing. And I was proud of myself for actually just pulling it off, basically.
Pat on the back for Claire.
So,
Pat on the back for Claire.
so that's one of me saving a moment from disaster.
We'll need to get your cape. Super Claire.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on today and telling us all about your expertise. I know you're going off on a little trip in a minute, so don't forget to take your cape with you.
I won't.
And I will see you probably soon for a squish.
Definitely. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It has been lovely. It has the cake. And I'll let you know what the other cake's like when I've eaten it.
Yeah, drop me a message. Okay. I can sit there and salivate. Thanks very much, Claire. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. That was the amazing Claire Marie Quant talking to us about creating clarity in your messaging, how you can actually do that, how it doesn't have to cost you the earth, and how sometimes it's about letting go of all the crap and actually getting on and building your confidence in what you're actually wanting to say. Absolutely fantastic guest. I'm absolutely dying to find out what our other cake tastes like. I feel slightly sick from eating all this very rich birthday cake. But what I wanted to tell you before we actually leave is, in a bid to create some sort of clarity, I actually identified with a hell of a lot of the stuff that Claire was talking about during our lovely chat. And one of the things that I've done for myself in the past is trying to get my head on straight on a day-to-day basis, being a business owner, having multiple projects on the go, is I created something called the Happy Business Planner. Yeah, absolutely shameless plug, but this is something that I use on a day-to-day basis, and it might be something that'll help you put your head on straight as well. We've got this in Amazon. I'll drop the link below. I'm going to drop Claire's link below as well, so that you can get in touch with her if you're interested in an audit. And if you want this planner, you can get it on Amazon. And it's dead good. Look, have a look. Hey, we've got all the appointments every week. We've got what else have we got? We've got to-do list or to-do list. And then every single day you can put everything in, put your lists in there and start ticking them off and feeling like you've accomplished amazing things and conquered the world. So I'll pop the link in there. If you haven't already subscribed and you want to see all our amazing experts that are coming up, I have got some absolute corkers for you. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button and watch us every Sunday night as we talk to more experts and eat a hell of a lot more cake. See you soon. Mwah!